What's going on, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People podcast. We have a duo this week, not a trio. I have Adam Carlson joining me. How are you, sir?
Doing all right. Not a lot of Minnesota Vikings stuff going on these days, so we haven't really been on top of things the way we might have been in the past. Let a day slide here or there, but you know what? We're still always going to keep coming back.
Absolutely. Rather than pound it into your head for every Kirk Cousins interception or huge miss by the defense for OTAs, we'll give you little updates here and there. We finally had a little bit of noteworthy stuff going on in Viking land, and we wanted to get a show in. So, yeah, without further ado, this is episode 437, secondary to none, because the question here, and I put it in the notes for the show, is when Mike Zimmer is the coach of the Vikings, are there ever enough cornerbacks? And after the recent transactions, I think the answer is no.
Oh boy, are there ever cornerbacks now?
We're obviously talking about the signing of free agent corner Bashaud Breeland. He was with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he was with Seattle to start, something like that. They also signed a corner from Jacksonville. And while on paper this unit looks to be vastly improved, I would hold my expectation to try and see, hey, where exactly is the median here? But based on the depth compared to last year to this year, the depth is better, and that's always a good thing. I love Mackenzie Alexander being back. We talked about it on the show.
Oh, yeah, big fan of that.
Yep, absolutely. We all loved him before he left. We're glad he's back. Patrick Peterson obviously is an upgrade. He might not be what he used to be. Maybe he's 85% of what he used to be. That's still very good. The progression of Cam Dantzler will be out. And now we got Bashaud Breeland, which is kind of I didn't expect him to sign with us. I thought he would go somewhere else, but I'm glad that he made it to this team. And I think it's a pretty solid suggestion. He's going to make the roster, no doubt about that. Wonder what his position is going to be. Where is he going to fall in that depth chart is the first question I have.
Tyler has that same question in chat. He says that Dantzler might not even start, which is pretty interesting. I recently put together a piece, came out this morning, on what Bashaud Breeland coming to Minnesota means for the team and what expectations should be for him in the Minnesota Vikings defense. And I think it's a pretty good read, but there's some great reasons to love this move, and then there are some pretty compelling reasons why there are some issues that might need to be addressed. So yeah, I know it's kind of leading, but if you get a chance, head over there. I did some pretty good research on Breeland for that piece, so I'd appreciate you checking it out and giving it a quick read if you have a little bit of time.
I'm going to look it up right now, and I'm going to get you an extra view because that's what we do here. You guys go and give Adam some love on the vikingage.com. I mean, that would be fantastic.
But Tyler makes a great point. Heading before that transaction, I think everyone was assuming that Dantzler was going to be starting next to Patrick Peterson. And I think that was pretty safe. Now this opens up what should be a competition. And I think that Mike Zimmer is going to want to go with the experience over the potential right now. So I do think that we're going to see that starting duo for 2021 be Patrick Peterson and Bashaud Breeland, two veterans on one-year rentals, which is kind of strange, but okay. But where that gets a little scary is that those are the two most flagged players in the NFL.
Oh, no.
And Mike Zimmer is not going to put up with that. So the penalties are going to have to come to a stop. But what's nice is that Breeland, although he seems really flaky on social media, he is one of the most confident players in the league. You can put anybody in front of him, and he thinks he's better than him, and he thinks he can beat them. Breland does.
I don't know the stats because they're not in front of me now. I read them not too long ago, but much like Patrick Peterson, excluding last year, I mean, he was on the team with the Chiefs. I think he's a Super Bowl champ. I'm not sure if he was still there last year. Yeah, so he won the Super Bowl with them. He's been there for a minute. I love it, and he's got good experience every day in camp going against Tyreek Hill. Sammy Watkins was all right. I forget the other guy, the other explosive wide receiver out of there. Travis Kelce at tight end.
Mecole Hardman, he's good.
There you go. That's who I was thinking of. He's got good experience.
But yeah, last year, Pro Football Focus called him the most improved player on the Chiefs roster for 2020, which is nice to see because you don't see that out of a 6-7 year veteran very often. Usually, most improved players been in the league 3-4 years, but when you get a player with that much experience getting some recognition, it's pretty nice to see, especially from a corner whose quarterback skills are strange because usually they're set in stone and the cap of their abilities is just based on how physically talented they are, because you're not going to improve a lot of your acceleration or your natural instincts very well. What you are doing is you're sharpening your instincts a little bit, but you're learning to read things better. You're playing things better. You're making better decisions. And Breland just gave up fewer, bigger plays last year while making more stops. And that alone should be nice to see in a defense that didn't make a lot of those stops last year.
We've been saying it for couple months now with these free agent signings, the drafts. I think the big X factor here, I think we all agree on the show, is defensive end. If Danielle Hunter's there, that'll improve whoever's on the opposite end, which could be insert any player. I think if I had to put my money down for week 1 and Danielle Hunter comes back, it'll be Stephen Weatherly, which is fine. Yeah. Not a terrible duo.
Weatherly or Holmes, I don't know which. It'll be one of those guys.
That's a good pick too. But it was going to revolve around that wall of defensive linemen, and then everything's going to fall into place after Anthony Barr comes back. Harrison Smith's still here. Xavier Woods came over from the Cowboys. So what I like about this team is the attitude of, I won't say patchwork because there are some stars that were added, but these aren't your run-of-the-mill J.J. Watts and Richard Shermans and these big household names, but these are quality players that a lot of them came in for cheaper than what you would think. Like, for instance, Bashaud Breeland's deal is only up to $4 million with incentives. So, cool. Xavier Woods, same thing. I think it might have been the vet minimum at safety. So, I like what this in the direction this is going. This gives a little chippiness. The competition in depth now at corner specifically is much more easy to swallow than what it was last year, because we all knew in the back of our head, if these guys don't play outstanding, this could be really bad. And that's pretty much what it was. It was pretty much really bad with sprinkles and highlights of good here and there.
Yeah, and it got even worse without help from a pass rush. That's what made this whole thing even more disappointing. But the one thing we'll have to watch for going forward is whether or not Danielle Hunter shows up to camp, because that'll be a massive indication of how this goes. We've already gotten a lot of news, and the internet's gone a little bit wild about Aaron Rodgers. I'll say probably not, because it's not official yet, but Aaron Rodgers not showing up for camp or threatening not to. And I don't really want that kind of, I don't know. Minnesota needs to know what to expect. And as much as I like the competition and the decent level of competition between the guys behind Hunter at defensive end, this team is a different team without him.
Absolutely.
So once we get confirmation that Hunter's going to be there, we can start thinking that, okay, there's going to be a strong pass rush. That other end is going to get single one-on-one attention on a consistent basis, which that'll be huge for everything there. We're going to have our two big defensive tackles in the middle. So you're going to have a team that's going to have to either go around or go over. This might be a fun defense to watch if the pieces fall into place. But again, like I said, this does push Cameron Dantzler into a situation where he's going to have to sit and learn for another year while getting experience sprinkled in instead of getting thrown into the fire a little bit more and learning by taking lumps, which he took some pretty good lumps last year. But there's some arguments as to why sitting behind two NFL veterans could be great for him. And of course, there are some compelling reasons why getting him some experience at corner for the long term is a great answer. But yeah, the signings, multiple signings. I think the Vikings have signed 3 corners in the last week.
Yeah.
And now I think they're up to 11 or 12 on the roster.
Yeah, I'm going to look those up officially just to get you an official report there.
And those numbers are kind of crazy, but we all know that Mike Zimmer wants to talk at least one player down on that practice squad as well, just to make sure they have somebody to bring up for when those injuries hit. So I like that, John. I like that.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the transactions from ESPN, June 2nd and 3rd, Bashad Breeland and Amari Henderson, who was with Jacksonville, and then May 29th, cornerback Ty Smith to a 1-year deal. I'm not really sure. I don't know much about him, but I'm going to go to the unofficial depth chart here in a second and give you guys the number of corners that they have on the roster at the moment.
Because, yeah, the Vikings, they are definitely doing what they can to make sure that they don't have a lack of depth at cornerback and that they have somebody that can come in and do what they need to do. Now, we're not going to go crazy and say that a lot of these corners are going to make the 53, even though some of the ones lower on the depth chart could find themselves really nice roles on special teams. But I think that we're going to see some players carve out their own niche in a really great way. Alexander's probably going to handle a lot of those nickel slot situations, which I don't know how he feels about that, because when he left the Vikings, I think he wanted to see more reps on the outside. But the fact that he came back to Minnesota and kind of seems excited about being back here, that to me means that he knows where the grass is a little bit greener. So maybe he found that he kind of liked that role a little bit more than he thought he would.
So that's interesting because they still have him listed here. Well, that was a different website. So right now, I'm looking at right corner. Peterson, obviously, we'll leave Jeff Gladney out of it because we don't know his status. I still personally think Jeff Gladney can make the team, but he's obviously going to serve a suspension of some sort. I think that's kind of a given. So we have Patrick Peterson is 1, Cameron Dantzler, Bashad Breeland, Chris Boyd, Harrison Hand, Mari Henderson, Kenzie Alexander, Ty Smith, Nickerson, and Maben. I'm not too sure about Maben. I didn't even know that was a person on the team.
It is.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 as we count it now, not including Jeff Gladney, which would be 11. So that's a lot of corners. I don't hate it. Obviously, some of these guys will not make the team, but it's more. I think what I was alluding to earlier was it averages the floor of this cornerback room a little higher than last year, just based on experience. I'm not saying that this is going to jump them from 25 at corner. Like if we had to rank with the secondaries in the NFL and we were like 25 or 24, this is going to shoot them up the top 10. But the experience there is what I like. I love Patrick Peterson. Bashad Breeland is a really good corner. And I'm not too upset about Cameron Dantzler maybe getting sprinkled in a little bit. Last year was cool for his experience, but there was more bad than good if you had to ask me about it, which honestly is kind of expected. I mean, he's a third round corner. He's not a Jeff Okuda that the Lions signed at number 4 overall. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
I like
the expectations are kind of tapered a little bit just because he wasn't
right.
one of those first round picks. I know a lot of people are kind of disappointed with the Mike Hughes pick because it didn't pan out and he never came back from his injuries the same. And that's the fear with those neck injuries. Even physically, he's good to go. A neck injury changes you.
Yeah, that also makes the Danielle Hunter situation scary. There's a lot of risks there that we're not talking about, but we haven't talked about it yet because he's still not showing up. So we'll see. What's up, Jonathan? Thanks for catching us live again. We're glad to have you too. Thanks for commenting, and anything you want to talk about, man, let us know. We're talking about these corners. We just mentioned there were 10 right now, unofficially, not counting Jeff Gladney. So I don't know. I like the rotation here.
And Gladney was recently on his social media. He deleted the posts already, but he was expressing his, let's call them frustrations.
Yep.
About his current situation and not really taking a whole lot of responsibility for anything that's going on. Whether or not that's accurate, we have no way of knowing because it's social media, but we should see something come out of this maybe within the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
And we'll know a little bit more. I'm personally expecting some sort of monetary payout and settlement and him returning to the team. That's sort of what I'm expecting.
Sure.
But as I said, I don't know what kind of proofs are out there or how the legal procedure is going to go. So that's, again, another thing to watch because it could never be an easy, smooth Vikings offseason,
There's always got to be something there. Yeah, we'll see. I expect to see him on the team. I don't think they're going to give up on him just yet. And if he's got any truth to what he's saying, maybe it'll make it a little less bad. It's still a terrible look PR-wise and personally, but I don't think he's going to be starting week 1. We can all agree on that. So we will update you when something comes out, hopefully soon. What I was going to say earlier, which is really good, why I'm so optimistic, and Jonathan, we'll get to that in just a second because I'm very happy about that too. What I'm excited about is the Vikings actually getting to practice because, there was a sense last year we didn't know what to expect with the season and COVID and all that fun stuff, but goodness, man. We didn't know it was going to take that much effect of having rookies start and not even getting to touch each other in a practice. Basically, the first dry run was a game against Aaron Rodgers, which is not how you want to start. So
not ideal.
Yeah, not the favorite, not what I would pick first, second, or third to start the season off. But now that they're out getting to go around, I like that so much more for these young guys and even the vets to come in and give the leadership and be a role model and talk. And if you haven't seen this is one of my favorites, and I'll let Adam jump in, but go watch Patrick Peterson mic'd up on Vikings.com recently at practice. I love the attitude that dude brings, and I love the stuff he said to coach. And he's already in there coaching young guys. I forget who he was talking to, but he was giving him an example of what to do and changing his technique, doing something there. And I was like, that's why we need this guy. Love it.
And they were talking to Breeland, too, about him arriving in Minnesota. And he said more that he wants to be a team leader as well. He wants to take some of these young guys under his wings. And, boy, there are plenty of young guys on this roster, especially defensive backs, that could really excel learning from these two veterans that have seen and done a lot in this league. I mean, Patrick Peterson's a future Hall of Famer.
Absolutely he is.
Bashad Breeland, he's one heck of a player. He's won a Super Bowl. I mean, those things alone should be enough for a young player to look at and say, okay, all right. And for them to respect what's going on. And this team's kind of shifted a little bit because even Dalvin Cook, when he was talking to the media, he said that he wants to take the young running back that just came in this year, wants to take him under his wing a little bit, help him learn and develop in that running back's room. And the fact that the Vikings coaches were pounding their table so hard, the running back coach was, to draft that running back, it shows that there's just so much support and encouragement for him. And I love seeing that from this team.
Yeah, it's fun to get to watch them, play around, go out. It's hot in Minnesota right now. So they said that today, or at least what I watched in the story on Facebook on the Vikings Facebook stories. And give you the last update in the last day or so. And you see the guys are like, yeah, man, it's hot out here. I was like, yeah, enjoy it while you can. I mean, Adam Thielen was one of those guys talking about it. I'm like, oh, you know how brutal the winters are there. But watching the guys fly around, have fun, seeing them do drills, it feels like normal life again. And let's not forget, we always mention this on this show. It's every other year with Mike Zimmer, so we're due for the playoffs this year. So,
and those sexy new practice helmets, don't forget those.
No, those are so much fun. Michael, I wanted to say what's up. We saw your comment, but we're going to talk about Jonathan's stuff here, kind of transition to the offensive side, because this offense last year wasn't bad at all. It was actually top 5-ish in the league at certain points and in certain stats and categories. Happy to see that they addressed the O-line in the draft. We are too. I think everyone was going to have Rick Spielman's head if he didn't get an offensive lineman in the first round. And the way that they're shifting around what we project to be the starting lineup, it's going to be an upgrade from last year. Absolutely will be.
Yeah, that whole situation is becoming a lot more clear with some of the words that have been said during camp and practices. We know that Darrisaw is taking over that left tackle position. He's going to take some lumps transitioning to the NFL, going against some of the premier pass rushers the league has to offer. So, yeah, he's going to make some mistakes. He's going to give up some pressures, but it's not like Kirk Cousins hasn't been dealing with some pressures over the last couple of years. Brian O'Neill holding down that right tackle spot. He'll be in line for an extension, maybe mid-season or after the season for sure. I don't see the Vikings wanting to let him go because he has been playing extremely well. In the middle, Garrett Bradbury hasn't really been the center the Vikings have hoped that he would be. But again, not disappointing to the point where you're ready to kick him to the curb. So he's still going to hold that down, and we're going to hope for a little bit of improvement from him. But it was Ezra Cleveland who said that he's moving from the right side, the right guard, to left guard. So now we know that spot is likely going to Ezra Cleveland, leaving that right guard spot up for grabs. And we got to assume that that's going to go to Wyatt Davis, right? I mean, I don't see anyone really beating him out. Unless it's that guy they traded from Arizona.
Mason Cole. Yeah, I was going to say Mason Cole or Wyatt Davis will take over that right guard spot. And then all can be well with the world because an average offensive line to Minnesota fans is breathable, relaxing news. And, I was just
why I'm expecting it to be Mason Cole that ends up as a backup is because he can play any of the 3 interior spots.
Yeah.
I think that versatility is going to actually hurt him when it comes to subbing. They're going to look at that and say, well, maybe we'll just keep him on just in case to plug in wherever. But he can still put forth a compelling enough preseason and training camp to win the job and then get flexed around if necessary. But from a purist standpoint, I love what the big Wyatt Davis has to offer. And if he can just push some guys around down there, that could make things really great for Dalvin Cook this year.
Yeah, great for Dalvin, great for Kirk. Mason Cole had a wonderful college career. I don't think he missed any games was there, which is nuts. I'm with you. I think that he would be a rotational piece, but that's great depth. Especially last year, seeing the guard play for this team, which was just dreadful. So wonderful if he can step in on either side to relieve some guys for a series or something. But I wanted to talk about Kirk because when Kirk gets a chance to stay upright, that's good. I know no one cares about this as much as I do, but I like it because it fills time in the offseason. But he is number 16 out of 32, well, at 40 actually, on Chris Sims' top 40 countdown. And he had a couple of negative things to say about him, but he did say today, because I listened to it before the show, just to have something to talk about, he did say he thought the Vikings could win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins, which I thought was interesting because I don't think a lot of people think that. He brought to light some issues about how he is almost a statue. He's very, very, very not mobile. And that's a threat to him drafting a quarterback like Kellen Mond. But he said, I think, at least for this year, and definitely for this year and probably next, he's still got a job here. So I like that the Vikings are going to take care of him. This is only good for the quarterback, which means it's only good for the receivers, and it's definitely good for Dalvin Cook because Dalvin had a special year last year, and the offensive line was, it was all right.
Yeah, the offensive line was good for pass blocking, or good for run blocking, not so great for pass.
Yep.
But still, I think that with all the beef that's out there now on that line, on both lines, both running and the run defense could be a lot better than last year. I have no doubt that even with the small amount of time that Kirk Cousins had last year, that he couldn't go out and repeat what he did with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen and the group of receivers that he has. The pass game, I have no doubt that can be repeated. The run game, that's going to be where the difference is going to be made. I wouldn't be too shocked to see at least another, maybe average a half a yard per carry if the line can do the work that I think it has the potential of doing, because just based on size alone.
I think if we're talking about both the lines and what we should expect, I think there should be less chunk plays on defense, which was it was awful last year. It was awful to watch. I think the offense, if they can maintain that consistency, I just want everybody to be healthy. We still want to find another wide receiver 3, but I think it looks like the direction they're going to go with the money they have left over in this point in time. I mean, it's almost the middle of June. They're just going to have a competition and let people duke it out, which is fine. It's not the worst case scenario, but
now if they got to put Conklin in those situations, that's okay.
I like it. I like that Irv is going to take over the Rudy snaps, and then Conklin is going to take over the Irv snaps. That's going to be really fun. Fun stat too, listening to that Chris Sims podcast today, Kirk Cousins is one of the only guys out there, and I think it's going to be close to 200 now. He's definitely going to get to 200 this year, but he'll have over 200 touchdowns and less than 100 interceptions. Right now he's at 190 for touchdowns and 84 for interceptions, so it's not bad. He's not an awful quarterback. I think he's going to pass that 200 touchdown mark this year, which is going to be exciting. Good for him.
Yeah, that's quite a stat.
Jonathan says, Kirk's a good quarterback. Pressure he received last year hurts anyone playing quarterback. Should help him grow. He has potential. Is he great? No, but he is efficient. He is efficient. I think he's very good at finding a spot for the ball to go. He doesn't throw many stupid balls. The only thing that sucks for him is he sucks moving around. And I feel bad for him because the line has been bad at pass blocking since he's gotten here, enough to where it kind of highlighted that. I think he's done way better here, the improvement of holding on to the ball. I know when he got here in 2018, God, he was losing fumbles left and right, but he really improved on that. So I like that.
Yeah, he prefers to be a pocket passer if available. And last year, not a lot of pockets. Boy, the front of that pocket collapsed almost right after snap. He had offensive linemen flying back into him.
And that's scary too, thinking about it. I never played football. I definitely never played quarterback, but try to think, would you rather have a guy coming around the edge, or would you rather have people just barreling into you? I'm like, I would rather have guys around the edge. At least maybe I could step up in the pocket and get a throw out. But when you have your center and your right guard getting thrown into you, that's not a fun time. That's not a fun day at the office. So that should be better. It's positive. We're all positive and hopeful here. But the Vikings are in the thick of OTAs. I did have a question, though, and maybe you think this is the way the Vikings will go, because I don't think they're going to sign a Melvin Ingram, which I would really like. They have a little bit of money left over. What's the last number you heard, Adam? Was it like $14 million they have total right now, something like that?
I have no idea.
Let me look and see what the Vikings cap situation is. The reason I asked this is I wonder if they're just going to take the rest of that money and just pay Danielle Hunter and use it for now to shift stuff around. Is that a scenario you think that could happen?
I'm kind of wondering what's happening with Geno Atkins. Why isn't he getting a look anywhere?
Ooh, that's a good one.
He keeps sitting out there in free agency. Is he wanting too much money? Is it a lack of starting opportunities? Because I'm sure that if he's not really a starter level player anymore, that Mike Zimmer would love to bring him in to kind of reinforce that defensive line and have a little bit more depth there. I'm sure he would love that. But if he's still looking for a starting gig at starting money, which I think he probably could be, he might be sitting out there in free agency and ultimately having to take a deal right before the season starts and having to be a substitute anyway. And we keep seeing teams linking Geno Atkins to Minnesota based on the relationship he has with Mike Zimmer. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there, but if that can be a budget signing, man, that would be some great depth to have in the middle of that defensive line.
That would be great. Think about this, guys. Imagine Geno Atkins taking over a Tom Johnson role from a couple of years ago. Isn't that crazy? That name matched up with that name and the position they would go in, because I don't think he's going to beat out any one of these guys we paid a ton of money to. But no. I got the answer right here. 2021 cap totals, available cap space, $13,789,000.
Okay.
So they've got some money to fool around with. Not sure what they're going to do with it. And I just looked at I don't know why I exited out. I should have just left it there. Danielle Hunter is the second highest paid person on this team, so that's interesting.
True.
His cap hit this year is $17.75 million. So yeah, $750,000 for the extra there. Base salary is $12.15. So I still think he's going to get paid. They have to do that. They know they're going to be terrible without this dude. And it's not like he's not working out and in great shape. We can see that on social media. He looks ready to go. So
no doubt whatsoever.
If there was an injury that we were worried about, lift our gym off the ground.
Yeah, otherwise we haven't seen much in terms of transactions for the Vikings or potential transactions. We can wonder what Minnesota's going to do with this money, because there aren't a lot of spots where signing a player would give an instant starter anymore. Maybe that third linebacker job, but even then that's kind of a question mark and kind of not really a necessity, because Minnesota's going to spend most of their defense in nickel like they did last year anyway and the year before. So paying for a third linebacker doesn't make a ton of sense. You could pay for a starting defensive end, but each of the defensive ends that are still out there in free agency comes with a little bit of some issues as well. So none of those are now clean of products as you'd really hope.
Right now, I would love to see Melvin Ingram. If you're on NFL Trade Rumors, they have 100 free agents. This was 4 days ago. They updated this list.
And Ingram's still coming off an injury too, right?
Right, yeah, and he's 32. So he's going to be on the downside of the age spectrum there. The other one, number 10, is Justin Houston. He's 32 as well. So, yeah, that'd be great. Maybe they do that. God, what was that guy's? It wasn't Dwight Freeney. What's the guy I'm thinking of? he was in Dallas, and then he went to Denver and won a Super Bowl with DeMarcus Ware.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe have a resurgence like that, and you help a team get to the promised land or deep in the playoffs. But I would like to see a 2 in the start of those names. Oliver Vernon from Cleveland is 30, so that might be another one that you look at. KJ Wright is a free agent. I would love to see him come in, but I don't think that's going to be a thing.
The Vikings might be smart to store up their pennies for next offseason because these players are going to make a ton of money when that salary cap bounces back up.
Yep.
And there are a lot of players that took 1-year deals looking to make maximum contracts as soon as they hit free agency. So it's going to be an absolute free-for-all next year, and Minnesota's not going to have a ton of money like some of these other teams are going to have to throw around. So, and they have a lot of players that need to lock down or will want to lock down. Harrison Smith, I think he's a free agent after this season. You got Patrick Peterson, you got Rashad Breeland, you got Xavier Woods, you got Brian O'Neill. You got guys who need money.
Yeah, I'm looking at this list, and it's interesting because the top 25, they're actually the top 28. There are no wide receivers in there that they have ranked. The first wide receiver, I bet you wouldn't be able to guess it if you tried. They're number 1 ranked. This is NFL trade rumors, but they're going by all positions. 29-year-old wide receiver. Not really a household name either. Above Amendola, Golden Tate, Larry Fitzgerald, Alshon Jeffrey. Kenny Stills. Buffalo, 29. There's a lot as you go down the list. Josh Gordon. There's D.D. Westbrook, Isaiah Ford, Seth Roberts, Marquise Lee, Tavon Austin. But who do you want to take over your wide receiver 3 spot? I think that's another good thing. Because we've talked about this before. The league's such a passing league now, but I don't know. I don't know if there's much more you can do that's going to be like, yep, that's the piece that puts you in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Same thing for the defense. There's a lot of good names there, but a lot of those names too were good 3-4 years ago. So we'll see.
Yeah, you look at this roster and you feel kind of set with it.
Yeah, you're right. And if the Vikings do what you said and they save that money and they keep it for, oh crap, somebody got hurt, now we still have money to go sign this person. Cool. If it rolls over to next year, cool. I really want to see them figure this Danielle Hunter situation out. There's still plenty of time. We're only the 9th day of June. The season doesn't start till September, so we still have all this month, June and July and August. I'd like to see it get done sooner than later so we can kind of let that tension go away and breathe that breath of relaxation, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm absolutely more than fine if they use that money for setting up some sort of Danielle Hunter extension, or if they're hanging onto it for a rainy day, or if they go and sign D.D. Westbrook like I want them to. But
that'd be awesome. As much Minnesota as you can make this team, like, Kirk's the quarterback, and then you have this and this, adding him to the offense, that'd be so funny to be like, well, we have everything we need on this side. We have questions here and there, but there's not really anything else we need over here. We're good. The basket's full. That would be really fun.
It is strange, though, because this season is setting up for next season to put Minnesota in almost the exact same situation for the draft, aside from offensive line. Now it's going to be next year, what's Minnesota going to take? Are they going to go cornerback or defensive end? And that's what it's setting up for, in my opinion. Is that the way it's looking to you?
Yeah, I mean, unless unless we do terrible this year and you fall in love with maybe an Adam Thielen at wide receiver, but I think he's still got another 2 or 3 years of playing the way he's been playing the last 4. Yeah, corner's going to be a question. There's a lot of 1-year deals. Defensive end definitely going to be a question. Yeah, I think you nailed it.
But yeah, otherwise, I haven't been reading a lot of the observations from training camp, other than the Brian O'Neill saying that he's been seeing a lot of improvement from Ezra Cleveland. as far as his footwork and technique. And then he showed up in just amazing shape. So a lot of that Ezra Cleveland hype is finally shifting into shape a little bit. And honestly, now that we kind of know what position Ezra Cleveland's going to play, he can get his body ready for that position. Because as an offensive lineman, sure, you can be versatile and be able to play left tackle while playing right guard, but each of those has a more ideal body shape and size if you want to excel at those spots. And conditioning your body for one or the other is a little bit different of a game. So the fact that he was able to take some time this season, preseason, training camp, and prepare for playing on the interior of the line rather than being a jack of all trades, that could help him in a major way.
It's so funny. I'm checking my phone, and Kyle West is working late this week. But he sends a picture of Patrick Peterson on top of Adam Thielen breaking up a pass. It said iron sharpens iron. I love that. A year ago, we would have had no thoughts of having Patrick Peterson on this team. That's so funny. That's crazy how the offseason works.
Yeah, it's still not really a reality to me. It'll be strange when I see it on the field, but man, I really hope that those two veteran corners can clean up their flags and really help this team out, because there were several times last year where a stop or two would have made a difference in a win.
I can think of 3 off the top of my head.
And that alone should be enough to be encouraging for this team to return to the playoffs. Now, let's play devil's advocate here for a little while. And let's say that worst does come to worst for Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers gets shipped out by Green Bay for some picks. Not players, just picks. And they have to go forward with what they have. Now, not knowing what Jordan Love has to offer, you can't really put them in a position where you can say, okay, Green Bay is still the absolute favorite. I don't think that's would be nearly as clear cut as before. And you can't really say, okay, Chicago Bears, the way they are with their rookie quarterback, you don't know what to expect from them, so you can't really call them a clear-cut favorite if Green Bay isn't the team that they are when Aaron Rodgers isn't there. And let's be honest, expectations are kind of low for the Lions. If they come out and they end up dominating the division, that would be a surprise.
Yeah, 100%.
But where's Minnesota fit in all this? Because they honestly, offensively, didn't change a ton. The only shifting they did was on the offensive line, and they already had a pretty good pass blocking situation going on, and they got that run blocking. But Minnesota has a pretty complete team. But does a complete team beat a roster with an unproven quarterback?
I think so. I think to answer your question, Aaron Rodgers is the X factor of this entire conference, really. They were one game away from the Super Bowl. They absolutely spanked this division. He was the MVP last year, just played out of his mind great.
Yeah.
Not even for the NFC North, for this conference, he is the X factor. I really hope he goes to LA or Denver. By the way, I just scrolled through Instagram on the show earlier. Deshaun Watson wants to be a Denver Bronco. That is news that is out there now. So would you take the old MVP or the guy with issues who is very good? Denver. Ball's in your court there. If Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay, which that's what it looks like right now, it's been nothing but solid reporting of he is not coming back to Green Bay. So they're going to have to deal him. This is the Vikings division to take. I mean, Detroit's not going to be on that level yet. They downgraded at quarterback. I don't know what to think of this head coach. He did a press conference in like a helmet or something recently. That dude's off his rocker. I don't understand him at all. I love it. It's WWDE-esque entertainment, but I don't understand that at all. The Bears always give us trouble, especially in Chicago. But as of recent years, I mean, it's a split between us and them. It's always usually 1-1. We had that off year here and there where we lose to them twice, but it's 1-1 usually with the Bears and the Vikings. And I think they have the edge because I don't find Andy Dalton to be a threat. Justin Fields is a very good question mark. I like him a lot. The Vikings obviously liked him a lot to look at him. But is he going to come in the league and be Patrick Mahomes? I don't think so. I don't know how you could with that team anyways. I don't know who he's going to throw to besides Allen Robinson. So I think this is the Vikings division to take. If Aaron Rodgers isn't there, this is going to shape up to really put Mike Zimmer's ass on the hot seat because they're going to say, hey, look, the MVP of the league and that constant pain in your rear end is gone. So this is your division to take. So they're going to need to figure the defense out.
No, it is simpler with Aaron Rodgers there because Green Bay is still a team to beat.
Absolutely.
But Minnesota has been making those strides. They've got some coaches in place. They've got some talented veterans on the field. And Minnesota shouldn't be counted out, but they'll definitely have a much better shot if things aren't all rainbows and unicorns in Green Bay.
I'm typing back a comment for Jonathan here. He says, Green Bay drama. They can still be dangerous. A lot of talent there. Yeah, and I like their coach a lot. Their coach is very, very good, but I'm typing out, I agree, but I feel them to be way more middle of the pack. See what I did there? If Rodgers leaves.
Yeah, Green Bay's got some great pieces in every phase of the game. They aren't a team to be shrugged off, even if they don't have Aaron Rodgers. A ton of talent. But I am very interested to see how that offense would operate without Aaron Rodgers. Because they can't. They can't do a lot of things they used to do unless you have a quarterback that can make those throws. And I have seen Aaron Rodgers make incredible throws to Devontae Adams. And as good as Devontae Adams is he that player without those throws? I'm not doubting that he's great. Not at all. But the throws are helping too. And this NFL season's going to be so much fun to watch. It really is.
It was interesting to see starting out week one. It was like, oh, cool. So he's still stupid good. That's annoying. He's still very much a threat.
Let's be honest, Valdez-Scantling.
Yeah.
Would he go to another team and put up the numbers that he does in Green Bay? Absolutely not.
I think that
Robert Tonyan? No way.
Yeah, I mean
these aren't.
I think that's perfect point, man. He makes that team so much better. Yeah. So what can you do to elevate everyone around you? That's where I have questions, especially when reports come out that Jordan Love is sailing passes in training camp. It's like, dude, who's the guy that they had before? DeShone Kizer. He went in for a game, I think the Case Keenum season, and he was terrible.
Yeah.
Green Bay was just like the ticket sales dropped immediately. Like the price of tickets dropped when Aaron Rodgers' collarbone broke. And it's just like, that's the significance of a singular person for this team. So I think it's going to drop off. Now, I think that coach could be creative enough, like a Sean McVay, to maybe make things tricky. But if he leaves, man, this is the Vikings division to take. And I think there will be some serious questions for Zimmer if he doesn't capitalize. But there's still a lot of time left before the season gets started. So we'll figure that part out as the summer progresses.
For sure. That's just about all I have for this week. Do you got anything else you want to touch on?
No, Kyle Les wanted to make sure that we make fun of the practice helmets and highlight those. So if you
I did.
Ridiculous ones on there. Adam mentioned it earlier, but you guys got to see it for yourself. These things are absurd. But anything in the name of player safety, we're not going to joke on too hard because we understand how big that is. But no, I don't have anything. This is a good comment. We'll end on this. Jonathan says another offensive coordinator for the Vikes, even with the promotion we're going in, there's still the unknown. Constant changes there make continuity very difficult. Just glad the O is adaptable. You know, my feeling on that, Jonathan, is he's not going to vary. It's like getting the same car, but I don't want to say upgrading because I'm not going to say Clint is better than Gary, but
Getting a newer model.
Yeah, getting a different model, and you still have the same kind of drivability. You still have different features that you have to get used to, but that's what I like most for Kirk, because that's one thing about Kirk Cousins. He doesn't get enough credit, or I don't want to say a free pass. Like, okay, we'll add this asterisk here because that does kind of suck. Then to change offensive coordinators. I mean, since he's been here, this was back to that guy from Philly. What was his name? The quarterback coach there, DeFilippo. We
Yeah.
had him. We've had Gary Kubiak. Now we've got Clint. I mean, there's been a ton of changes there. So
look how much that rotating door of offensive coordinators hurt Alex Smith's development back in the day.
I think that's a great thing to bring up, Jonathan. I don't think it's going to hurt him that much. And I think just for Clint, I think it would be very wise to stay with his dad's playbook. And I'm sure he's going to contact his dad and ask him for help. You don't think that they're going to talk and review that? You're crazy.
I'm sure that'll come up pretty often.
Right. But I think that's cool because he's got the imprint and he's got the makeup of what this team is. And I love that he knows the team, has watched it evolve. I think it was kind of the no-brainer hire there unless somebody really good became available. But, yeah, I'm excited for it. I just, like you said, glad the offense is adaptable. I think the whole team's going to have to be adaptable because it seems like every year this league takes a little step forward to something new. So I'm interested to see what Clint Kubiak comes up with.
I do want to take 1 second and talk about how cool it is that I see us getting comments from YouTube as well as Facebook, because for a long time we were a YouTube-only show live. Before that, we were just a recorded show that we uploaded, and now that we're reaching out and we're getting a bigger audience, I mean, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, any of those three, you can watch us live, which is really cool to see. And I love that we offer this to anyone to come on and express their opinions live during the show so we can talk about them. It's just, I love technology at times. So cool.
We want to give a shout out. We didn't have a whole neighborhood of people in. We didn't really promote this that quickly either. I just kind of wanted to get a show in today because it had been a while.
We've been a little too long without a show, so I'm glad we were able to get together and talk some football.
Shout out to Tyler and John Young and Michael Cambria popped in, and especially Jonathan, keeping the show alive today. Thank y'all for doing that, kind of echoing Adam's point. It really helps us think outside the box for material, and bringing up different opinions or points of views always helps the show go smoothly. Because Adam and I can talk here by ourselves. We've done that many times in the past before, but we would rather have you jump in at random times.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, let's do some promotions and get the hell out of here. What do you say?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you can check me out over on the Viking Age. I already plugged that a little bit earlier. My piece that came out this morning on what to expect from Bashad Breeland came out. It's a fun, interesting little article with that highlights some of the great things and not so great things that he can offer Minnesota and what to expect from him. I should have another nice couple of articles coming out this weekend, so keep your eyes peeled for those. Also, over on Undead Walking, we have this Sunday is the season 6 finale of Fear the Walking Dead. They are building up to something absolutely big here, and I have no clue what it is. And honestly, after this episode, everything is kind of up in the air in the Walking Dead universe as to how everything's going to relate to anything else, because we're going to see crossovers, we're going to see mentions, we're going to see the impact of other shows on other shows, between World Beyond giving hints of the Rick Grimes movies to maybe Fear the Walking Dead giving some hints as to things that might be seen in The Walking Dead season 11. Things are going to get really wild here. So if you're a fan of that zombie series, it's worth checking out, having a little bit of fun over there. I know that it's not as busy of a site as it used to be, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a place for you to go and talk about your favorite AMC zombie dramas. Over on Twitch, MN Viking Zombie, I've made the decision I'm going to start playing through some of the classic RPGs that I've enjoyed during my lifetime. Right now, I'm thinking of going through the Final Fantasy X remake and playing some Stream Raiders while that goes on. So I'm not expecting a big crowd for that, but I figure if I'm going to play through it, I might as well play through it on Twitch, right? Why not?
Absolutely.
And of course, they just recently had a reveal or announcement trailer for Dragon Quest 12. And when that comes out, I will 100% be streaming that, because Dragon Quest 11 might be my favorite game of all time. You can also hit me up on my socials, MN Viking Zombie. That's where I am at Twitter, where I'll be saying stupid stuff. Instagram, where I'll be posting stupid pictures like my long hair or my cats. So, yeah, you can check me out over there.
Underrated Twitter from Adam Carlson. Check him out over there.
I swear my tweets don't get enough love.
They really don't, and he's not just blowing smoke because he's full of himself. He's got some good product out there. I don't know it's kind of like stand-up comedy. You know, you'll have some really good zingers, and it just takes a long time to catch up. Hopefully that's what it is. I like your Twitter, man. It's very fun.
And I am trying to convince Mr. Smith that there's a lot more to Twitch than just video games. I keep sending him videos and links to saying, hey, look what these people are doing on Twitch. There's a DJ here. There's a musician there. Go on there, play your guitar, sing. You'll get an audience, man.
I'm re-downloading it right now. I'll figure out how to make it more public, and we'll get this rolling.
If you're going on Facebook Live, you might as well use StreamYard and go on there and line up a Twitch on there too. You might as well do it.
I don't think I have it saved in my passwords here. I'll have to figure that out.
You could make some money.
God, that would be awesome.
Yeah, make sure to check out Kyle West's Phantasm Digital Redbubble site as well. Some great products on there. You can get yourself podcast merchandise, or you can purchase something with some nature on it, some cool, creepy photos, maybe some old Vikings training camps, some pop culture stuff. There's a lot of great stuff to check out over there, and you can have it put on almost anything. So make sure to check out Kyle West's Redbubble, Phantasm Digital. Do it.
Do it. Yeah, you can buy a lot of podcast merch there too. I usually try to have that handy today. I don't know where my shirt is. Maybe I have to buy another one, but he does good stuff. Good photography work there. I don't have anything to plug, so that's going to be the end of the show. Adam Carlson will lead you out.
Yeah, thanks again for coming, and we're going to try to go live when we can, as long as there's something to talk about. We waited a couple extra days this week since it was a little quiet, but we will be on about every week if we can, and we hope to see you back here next week to have some fun, talk Vikings football, and you can catch us live on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch, or you can check out the full archive of videos on YouTube, or if you're on the go, you can take your apps. We are on Spotify and Google Podcasts and pretty much anywhere else that you find podcasts. You can listen to us on the go, and that's a lot of fun. So everyone, thanks again for giving us a listen. We would love to continue to grow with you, so share us with your friends. if you can, and we'd appreciate that greatly. Also, stay classy, Minnesota.